continue. Now Commanders star receiver Terry McLaurin is requesting a trade. Dan Orlovsky had a strong take, I'm told, yesterday. Take a listen, fellas.
I truly believe Washington has a quarterback that should win a Super Bowl. I don't feel that way about Dallas. So I think moving on from Terry derails that. It deters that, and it changes the trajectory of it. With respect to Micah, I think Terry impacts winning in Washington more than Micah impacts winning in Dallas. But I think you take Micah away from the Dallas Cowboys, and I still think they flirt with being a playoff contending football team. If you take Terry and he's in Washington absolutely expect to be in the playoffs. Absolutely. With Terry McLaurin's there. You take Terry away, nope.
All right, I see you shaking your head, and obviously this is a layered question, but Mike T, do you agree with Dan that McLaurin will impact winning more than Micah Parsons on their respective teams?
Dan can't help himself as a former quarterback. Look, Terry McLaurin's a great player. Actually, since 2019, he's led the NFL in contested catches. He's the perfect complement to Deebo Samuel, and they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But if you look at the recent history of the league, guys, there's so many trades. We saw DK Metcalf, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. If we needed a receiver, we could go get one. It's not ideal by any stretch, but you could find receivers. So if you can't solve Terry McLaurin, we could go get one. Not with this moribund Dallas Cowboy defense. Look, they have Dante Fowler. They drafted Donovan Ozarike from BC. But to me, they are below average at best. And now a team that's not good on defense has to stop the Commanders and the Eagles. How are the Cowboys going to get to where they want to go? Again, losing McLaurin, guys, not ideal, but we could solve a receiver for a year.
Swaggo, why were you wide-eyed during that conversation?
Because y'all know it's difficult for me to agree with Dan Orlovsky, but I do agree. In this iteration of these teams, I think Terry McLaurin plays a more important role in his team winning the Super Bowl than Micah Parsons. I'm not talking about value of the position. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about where Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders were from last year to this year with the hope that we have for this football team and the progress that we saw Jaden Daniels make. Terry McLaurin caught 82 passes, 1,000 yards, and 13 touchdowns last year. That was his stat line, and we sitting here talking about, 17, and we sitting here talking about a guy without a contract on a team that has been in the abyss for a number of years. We've been trying to get the owner out of there. They got new ownership. We've been trying to find a quarterback for so long. This team actually made a playoff run further than the Dallas Cowboys last year. And Terry McLaurin had a tremendous amount to do with that. I think young quarterbacks situationally with Jaden Daniels, having a number one wide receiver who's been productive with whoever has played quarterback in Washington, and their opportunity to win a Super Bowl or make a deep playoff run, almost like they did last year. Terry McLaurin is more vital to his team's success and impact on winning right now based on what we watched this team be last year.
You know, you make some very salient points, and I get where you're coming from, Swagoo, but you lost me when you agreed with Dan Orlovsky. There's no reason to do that. We know that half the time he's going to say outrageous things. I miss Dan, and I'm looking forward to working with him again this football season. Because his explanation was, in one breath, he's raving about Jaden Daniels and how spectacular and special he is. In another breath, he's talking about, this dude is who you need in order to get it done. Well, which one is it? I'm going to go with Micah Parsons as the answer to this particular question. And here is why, Swagoo. Here is why, Mike T. Because, see, we got to look at the Dallas Cowboys. The first one was the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so there's that black cat's running around. We all know that, right? We know that, right? Let's get that out.
How about when it literally ran around?
That's number one. Number two, all right, I love they got me laughing because they've convinced the world they're going to run the football more. They're going to run the football more, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Rico Dowdle is gone now, but they're going to run the football more, right? That's what they're going to do, okay? But you acquired George Pickens. You got him with CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens is in a contract year. Dak Prescott, the undeserving highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying he can't play. I'm not saying he don't deserve his bag. But for him to be at $60 million a year when everybody else is at 55 with 2 playoff victories entering his 10th season in the NFL is egregious. Damn it, it's just the truth, okay? So we got to get that out the way. You know they're going to go out there trying to fling that football. you know a mistake is waiting to happen. Just be patient. Just wait for it. It's coming, all right? Which means that your defense is going to have to step up and do some things for y'all. Y'all couldn't tackle against the run. Y'all couldn't defend against the run. It compromised you ultimately in the secondary. The only thing you could rely upon is that if you caused an extra second or two to be used for an opposing quarterback to throw the ball, Micah Parsons was going to get to him, okay? So what I'm saying to you is that when I look at Jaden Daniels, when I look at Quinn, when I look at Kingsbury, who did a damn good job as the offensive coordinator last year, when I look at the acquisition of a Debo, and I look at the personnel that they have in place, of course McLaurin is a stud. They should pay him. They should take care of him. He's valuable. But I got more faith that they'd have the structure and the personnel to overcome his absence, more so than the Dallas Cowboys, the soap opera that is the Dallas Cowboys. Without Micah Parsons, and the only way to make up for that is Dak throwing the ball more. Give me that all day. Give me that all day. So Dan Orlovsky, listen, he knows his football backwards and forwards. But as you pointed out, when it comes to quarterbacks, he's totally emotional. He cannot be trusted to give you an honest assessment about quarterbacks because that brother has got a soft spot in his soul.
With his case.
He's got a soft spot in his soul for anybody that's throwing the football. Especially, don't let me get a quarterback that's going to run out of bounds. Don't let me do that.
Your Honor, the testimony of Senator Orlovsky is totally biased and should be summarily dismissed.
That's right.
And one other thing I would say, guys, when Tyreek Hill was traded from Kansas City, Miami, what did we see? We saw the greatness of Patrick Mahomes elevate what were somewhat nondescript receivers. To Stephen A's point, like Jaden Daniels has every indice of being a great quarterback. Part of the definition of greatness, Swagoo, is to make those around you better.
Don't do that.
Do we want to do the Patrick Mahomes comparison just yet? Because Mahomes, I think Jaden Daniels is sensational, but Patrick Mahomes is a bit of an outlier. Like, is that a little premature?
But I'm just
Molly,
saying,
Molly, it's not even about Patrick Mahomes. Okay, Mike T don't want to mention that they have arguably the greatest tight end to ever play still in Kansas City. So you take Terry McLaurin away from this offense. Who the hell Jaden Daniels gonna count on to make plays offensively? Y'all tell me who the guy is. Who are we going to go into every game as a defensive coordinator saying, if we don't stop this guy, we going to have a problem?
Okay, Mike T, answer quickly, then I got to get into commercial break.
Debo Samuel, and we got Luke McCaffrey, Zach Ertz, and we're going to sign Keenan Allen. And that's my point. I like Terry McLaurin. I don't want to get rid of him, Swagoo, but we could find a receiver. We can't find big defensive linemen from the SEC. Those guys are always overpaid.
I love the we're dropping. All right, let me get in a quick commercial break here, guys. Having fun here on a Tuesday on First Take. Coming up, Dan Orlovsky unveiled his quarterbacks are the most approved this season. And does SA have a lot to say about it?